The accuracy of silence. Chapter 1. So when she called, neither of them pretended it was a mistake. I won't take much of your time, she said. He closed the door anyway. The click of the latch sounded louder than it should have. He stood there a moment, phone still in his hand, as if she might continue speaking. She didn't. The silence between them had learned how to wait. I'm free now, he said, finally. I know, she replied. That's why I called. He walked into the living room and sat in the chair he reserved for reading. The one that faced the window, not the door. Outside, the maple had begun its slow turn toward October, leaves thinning, color arriving unevenly. He had always liked transitions that refused to announce themselves. How are you, she asked. It sounded sincere. That was the problem. I'm fine, he said. She exhaled, a sound he recognized as relief, but not resolution. They had never been good at finishing things in the same moment they began them. I heard about the retirement dinner, she said. Yes, he answered. It was kind. That's not what I meant. He smiled despite himself. Then say what you meant. There was a pause, brief but deliberate. She was choosing her words the way she used to choose sentences for publication. Nothing wasted. Nothing reckless unless it had earned the right. I didn't expect you to disappear, she said. I didn't, he replied. You stopped answering. That's not the same thing. Another silence. He could picture her now, even without seeing her. Likely standing, pacing slightly, one hand braced on a table she pretended not to notice. I didn't know what you wanted from me, he said. I wanted you to be honest, she said. That's a large request. She laughed softly. That's what you always say when you're cornered. He looked around the room, as if it might testify on his behalf. The bookshelves were neat now, recently purged. Years of marginalia boxed and donated, the ghosts of arguments past released into the world. I'm not cornered, he said. No, she agreed. You're settled. The word stung more than he expected. Settled had always sounded like failure in motion. Now it sounded like an accusation. What do you want, Clara? He asked. She said his name then, not the one she used in public, but the shortened version. The one that belonged to offices after hours and conversations that leaned too close. David, she said. I want to see you. He didn't answer right away. He felt the answer rise in him, immediate and dangerous. He pressed it down with habit. That's not a good idea, he said. I know, she replied. That's why I'm asking. He stood and walked to the window. A student crossed the quad carrying a box, already late for some smaller ending. David wondered when he had begun measuring time this way, in farewells and afters. It's been 12 years, he said. 13, she corrected. Still, he said. Still, she agreed. You're married, he said. Yes, she answered. And I'm not, he added. I know. She was too calm. That unsettled him more than any pleading might have. I'm not asking for anything, she said. That's never been true, he replied. Then let me revise, she said. I'm not asking for anything you can't refuse. He closed his eyes. That had always been her most effective argument. Why now, he asked. She hesitated. Not long, but long enough for him to hear the weight of it. I ran into your former student, she said. Which one? The one who wrote about silence in public institutions. He nodded. Elena. Yes. She asked me if I still spoke to you. And I said no. The word landed between them. Clean. Decisive. A lie, but a manageable one. She seemed surprised, Clara continued. She said you had shaped her thinking. He smiled faintly. That was my job. She said you taught her how to listen without correcting. He felt the old warmth at that. Teaching had always been the cleanest part of his life. I wondered, Clara said, if I ever learned that. He turned back toward the room. I thought you knew, he said. I thought so too, she replied. Until I realized I never let you finish a sentence. That surprised him. It also moved him in a way he didn't trust. You're finishing one now, he said. Yes, she answered. That's why I need to see you. He sat again, slower this time. The chair creaked in recognition. I don't know what good it would do, he said. It wouldn't be good, she replied. That's honest. Finally, she said, without cruelty. He rubbed his hands together, a habit from winter lectures. I'm not who you remember, he said. I'm counting on that, she answered. Outside, the light shifted. A cloud passed, unremarkable, effective. Where, he asked. She named a cafe near campus, one they used to avoid because students liked it. It felt intentional. Neutral ground that wasn't neutral at all. When, he asked. Tomorrow, she said. That's soon. Yes. He thought of the calendar on his desk. Empty squares had begun to feel accusatory. "I'll think about it," he said. "I know," she replied, "but I won't wait long." After they hung up, he remained seated. The room felt altered, as if it had shifted slightly on its axis. He noticed things he usually overlooked: a cracked spine, a dust line, the absence of a clock. That night, sleep came unevenly. He dreamed of his office as it used to be, cluttered and loud with ideas. Clara stood at the door, younger, impatient, holding a folder he had never opened. In the morning, he woke before the alarm he no longer needed. The house was quiet in a way that felt earned and provisional. He brewed coffee he barely tasted. At the cafe, she was already there. She stood when she saw him, then seemed to reconsider and stayed seated. Her hair was shorter. That was the first thing he noticed. The second was that she looked less defended. "David," she said. "Clara." They shook hands, a gesture so formal it nearly broke them both. She laughed once, under her breath. "We're terrible at this," she said. "We always were," he replied. They ordered without discussion. Muscle memory did the work. "You look well," she said. "So do you." "That's polite," she said. "Yes," he agreed. She studied him then, openly. No pretense of casualness. He let her. "You're thinner," she said. "I stopped eating lunch," he replied. "On purpose?" "No." She nodded, filing it away. He recognized the look. She was listening now. "I don't have much time," she said. "You said that yesterday." "I meant it then, too." He waited. "I'm leaving," she said. "Leaving where?" "Here. The city. The job." He blinked. "That's sudden." "No," she said. "It's late." "Where will you go?" "California." He felt the word travel through him. Distant. Definitive. "When?" he asked. "In 3 weeks." He sat back. The cafe noise rushed in, suddenly too loud. "That's why now," she said. "Yes," he replied. She reached into her bag and took out a folded page. She didn't hand it to him yet. "I wrote something," she said. "I assumed as much." She smiled. "You always did." She placed the page between them. He didn't touch it. "I don't need you to read it," she said. "I need you to know it exists." "What is it?" he asked. "A correction," she said. "To what?" "To the story I've been telling myself for 13 years. He looked at the paper. It seemed ordinary. That frightened him. "And what does it say?" he asked. She met his eyes. "That you didn't leave me," she said. "That I stepped away first." He felt something give, quietly. Not relief. Something heavier. "I never blamed you," he said. "Yes, you did," she replied gently. "You just did it silently." He reached for the paper then. She covered it with her hand. "Not yet," she said. "Then why bring it?" "Because once you read it," she said, "we can't go back." He nodded. That made sense. "Will you come with me?" she asked. The question landed cleanly, without decoration. He didn't answer. Outside, a student laughed too loudly. The sound cut and vanished. "I don't need an answer now," she said. "I do," he replied. She watched him, carefully, as if memorizing the moment. "Then take the page," she said, "and read it when you're ready." He slid it into his jacket pocket. The weight was negligible. The consequence was not. She stood. "So," she said, "this is where we pause." "Yes," he said. "For now." She hesitated, then leaned in and kissed his cheek. Brief. Intentional. Unmistakable. "I loved you," she said. "I know," he replied. She walked out without looking back. David remained seated, hand in his pocket, fingers resting on the folded page. He did not unfold it. Not yet. Outside, the maple dropped its first leaf. Skazali. Write the next chapter. Programa, ChatGPT Skazala. Chapter 2. David did not read the page that day. He told himself this was discipline, not fear. He had spent a career teaching students to wait, to sit with difficulty before resolving it. Still, the paper stayed folded in his pocket until evening, then moved to the desk, unopened. He cooked a simple dinner and left most of it untouched. The radio murmured news he half recognized. Every sound felt provisional, as if the house were holding its breath with him. He picked up the page once, then set it down again. The habit of postponement had always served him well. Tonight, it felt less like control and more like avoidance. When he finally unfolded it, he did so carefully. The paper was creased where she had folded it, but otherwise unmarked. Her handwriting was unchanged, precise, slightly slanted, disciplined without stiffness. It began without greeting. "I have been wrong about the order of things." He read slowly, not out of reverence, but because speed felt dangerous. The sentences were short. They made no effort to persuade. I told myself you left because you were afraid. That story was useful. It allowed me to be wounded without being responsible. He paused. The room seemed quieter, as if the words had absorbed some of the sound. The truth is simpler and harder. I asked you to stay where I was not yet brave enough to stand. He stopped reading, not because he disagreed, but because agreement arrived too quickly. That unsettled him. He folded the page again and placed it back on the desk. For now, that was enough. That night, he dreamed of the corridor outside his old office. The walls were bare, stripped of notices and student flyers. Clara stood at the far end, her back to him, reading something pinned to the wall. When he called her name, she did not turn. When he reached her, the wall was empty. He woke before dawn, the dream lingering like a question that refused to specify itself. The house felt unfamiliar in the early light. Retirement had done that, turned ordinary mornings into unscripted ones. He showered, dressed, and left the house without a plan. The campus was quiet, summer thinned, its usual urgency replaced by maintenance trucks and stray cyclists. He walked past buildings he no longer entered, feeling both invisible and exposed. At the library steps, he stopped. He had not been inside since his farewell reception. The memory arrived uninvited. Applause, a plaque, a speech that mistook gratitude for closure. Inside, the air was cool and unchanged. The smell of books and carpet steadied him. He nodded to the security guard, who hesitated before recognizing him. "Good to see you, Professor," the guard said. "Good to be seen," David replied, surprising himself. He wandered without purpose until he reached a reading table near the back. He sat and removed the page from his jacket. This time, he unfolded it without ceremony. "I loved you in ways I could not name at the time. That is not your failure. It is mine." His throat tightened. The phrasing was unmistakably hers, direct, unsentimental, unwilling to soften the blow of clarity. "When I chose ambition over truth, I told myself it was temporary. That was also a lie." He thought of the year she had been offered the visiting position, the careful conversations, the way every decision had been framed as practical, temporary, reversible. "I do not expect forgiveness. I am not even certain I want it. I want accuracy." He exhaled slowly. Accuracy had always been their shared religion. The letter ended without flourish. "I wanted you to know this before I leave. Whatever you decide to do with it is yours." No signature. None was needed. David folded the page and rested his hands on it. He stayed like that for a long time, letting the words settle without commentary. It was not absolution. It was not invitation. It was something rarer, a revision. He did not see Clara again that week. He thought about calling, then did not. The restraint felt respectful, though he was no longer sure whom it protected. On Thursday, his former student Elena emailed him. The subject line read simply, "Are you around?" He considered ignoring it. Instead, he replied with an offer to meet for coffee. They chose the same cafe without comment. Elena arrived carrying a notebook she pretended not to need. "You look different," she said after they sat. "So do you," he replied. "That's evasive," she said, smiling. "Yes," he agreed. She ordered tea. He ordered nothing. "I ran into Professor Moreno," she said. "I know," he replied. "She told me." Elena raised an eyebrow. "So you are still in touch?" Briefly, he said. "That's not what she implied." He smiled. She never was careful with implications. Elena studied him with professional curiosity. "You taught me that silence has structure," she said. "Yes," he replied. "And that it's never neutral." "That too." She hesitated. Then, "I think she wanted me to find you." David nodded. "I think you're right." Elena leaned back. "For what it's worth," she said. She seemed relieved. "Relief is complicated," David replied. "So is staying," Elena said. They talked a bit longer, about nothing that mattered. When they stood to leave, Elena paused. "Whatever you decide," she said, "don't confuse stillness with virtue." He watched her go, the echo of her words settling into him. Stillness had been his refuge. Now it felt less secure. That evening, he called Clara. She answered on the third ring. "Yes," she said, as if she had been expecting him. "I read it," he replied. A pause. Then, "Thank you. I don't know what to do with it," he said. "That's all right," she answered. "It's not an instruction." "Are you packing?" he asked. "Yes." "Are you ready?" "No." He smiled at that. "I thought so." They spoke for nearly an hour, cautiously at first, then with growing ease. They did not revisit old arguments. They did not apologize again. You could visit, she said eventually. That sounds dangerous, he replied. Yes, she said, but also honest. I don't want to interrupt your life, he said. You wouldn't, she answered. You'd complicate it. That felt like an invitation disguised as a warning. He respected both. I'll think about it, he said. I know, she replied. After they hung up, he felt lighter and then guilty for feeling so, as if relief were a betrayal of caution. The next morning, he booked a ticket. 1 week. No return date yet. He stared at the confirmation email longer than necessary. The decision felt both impulsive and overdue. He did not tell anyone. He packed slowly, deliberately, choosing books he might not open. The folded page went into the front pocket of his suitcase. At the airport, he felt oddly calm, as if the worst had already happened and what remained was consequence. On the plane, he watched the city recede until it became pattern rather than place. He thought of Clara, of California light, of conversations not yet had. As the plane lifted, he realized something else. This was not a return. It was an approach, and he had no idea what would be waiting when he landed. Vizcazali. Write the next chapter. Programa, ChatGPT Skazala. Chapter 3. California greeted him without ceremony. The light was thinner than he expected, paler, as if filtered through intention. David stepped out of the terminal and felt the unfamiliar ease of warmth without humidity, heat without urgency. Clara stood near the curb, sunglasses on, hair pulled back. She did not wave. She waited. He recognized her posture before her face. That alert stillness. The way she occupied space as if listening for it to respond. David, she said when he reached her. Clara. They did not touch. Not yet. The drive was quiet at first. Not awkward, attentive. The city slid by in low buildings and long pauses between intersections. You look tired, she said. So do you, he replied. That's not what I asked. No, he said, but it's still true. She smiled faintly and changed lanes. I forgot how literal you can be, she said. I forgot how strategic you are, he replied. That's generous, she said. It's accurate. Her apartment was small and spare. Books, fewer than he expected. Light everywhere, controlled by blinds she adjusted without comment. Tea, she asked. Yes, he said. She moved with familiarity in the space, as if she had already begun detaching from it. Boxes lined one wall, labeled in her precise hand. He did not read them closely. They sat across from each other at a narrow table. The tea steamed, untouched. I didn't think you'd come, she said. I didn't think I wouldn't, he replied. She nodded. That makes sense. They sat with that for a moment. The air between them felt charged, but stable, like something newly calibrated. I leave on Monday, she said. I know. You didn't ask how long I'm staying. I assumed you'd tell me if it mattered. She laughed, surprised. You've changed. Yes, he said. So have you. She studied him openly now. The years were visible, but not apologetic. He wondered what she saw when she looked at him. I reread your last article, she said. The one on institutional memory. I didn't think anyone did. I did, she said. Twice. And you were kinder than you used to be. He considered that. Maybe I stopped trying to win. That's a loss, she said gently. Yes, he agreed. And a relief. They spoke then of neutral things. Her new position. His retirement. Friends who had aged predictably and others who had not. The rhythm returned, careful but unforced. They listened more than they spoke. When silence arrived, neither rushed to fill it. Later, she showed him the view from the small balcony. The city stretched out, low and wide, refusing drama. I never loved it, she said. California? No, she said. Leaving. He nodded. I know. Night came softly. The temperature dropped just enough to be noticed. I booked a hotel, he said. I assumed you did, she replied. She paused. You don't have to. He met her eyes. I think I do, he said. She accepted that without argument. Tomorrow, then, she said. Yes. At the hotel, sleep came unevenly. He dreamed of the letter again, but this time the page was blank. Clara watched him read it, waiting for a reaction he could not produce. In the morning, he woke early. The city sounded different here. Less insistence, more drift. They met at a cafe he would not have chosen. Too bright. Too open. She seemed pleased by his discomfort. You always preferred enclosed spaces, she said. I preferred containment, he replied. That's what I said. They walked after, slowly, through streets that led nowhere in particular. She stopped often, noticing details he missed. He followed without comment. "Do you regret it?" she asked suddenly. "What? Not coming with me then?" He considered the question seriously. "No," he said. She waited. "I regret that we didn't tell the truth sooner." She nodded. "That's fair." They reached the edge of a park. Children played at a distance. Their laughter felt incidental. "I didn't ask you here for closure," she said. "I assumed not. I asked you because I needed to know if the story could change. And, and I don't know yet." He smiled. "That's honest." They sat on a bench. The sun moved. Tom did not hurry them. "I don't want to repeat the past," she said. "Neither do I. But I also don't want to pretend it didn't shape us." "That would be dishonest," he said. She leaned back, eyes closed briefly. "When I leave on Monday," she said, "I won't come back." "I know. And I won't ask you to follow." "I know." She opened her eyes. "But if you did," she said, "I wouldn't stop you." The words settled between them. Not an invitation. Not a challenge. He felt the familiar pull, sharp and steady. The sense that something essential was being offered without assurance. "I don't know who I am outside the life I built," he said. "You'd find out," she replied. "At this age." "Especially," she said. They returned to her apartment in the afternoon. The boxes seemed closer now, more insistent. She poured wine this time. They drank without toasting. "You can stay tonight," she said. It was not a question. He did not answer immediately. He watched the light change across the floor. He thought of his empty calendar, his unopened mail. "Yes," he said finally. They moved carefully, as if relearning gravity. The touch was tentative, then certain. No urgency. No rehearsal. Later, lying beside her, he listened to her breathe. It sounded familiar in a way that startled him. "This doesn't solve anything," she said. "No," he agreed. "But it clarifies." She turned toward him. "What will you do?" she asked. He did not answer. Outside, a car passed, then another. The city continued, indifferent. "I don't know," he said at last. She nodded, accepting that. For now. On Sunday evening, she finished packing. The apartment echoed slightly. "I leave at 8, she said. "I'll come with you," he replied. At the airport, they stood together, not touching. Travelers moved around them, absorbed in their own departures. "You don't have to decide today," she said. "I know. But you will." He watched the line inch forward. The future narrowed to a single moment. "I'll call you," he said. "Yes," she replied. "Do that." She kissed him then, brief and public. Enough. As she disappeared past security, David remained standing. The choice pressed in on him, patient and unyielding. He turned toward the exit, then stopped. Behind him, the departure board updated. Flights changed status. Time, indifferent as ever, moved on. David stood there, suspended, knowing that whatever he did next would close one door forever and open another he was not yet ready to name. Skazali. Write the next chapter. Programa, ChatGPT Skazala. Chapter 4. David did not leave the airport right away. He sat on a bench near the windows, watching planes taxi with unearned confidence. Every departure felt declarative. Every arrival looked tentative. He took out his phone and did not turn it on. The weight of it was enough. Choice had become physical. He left eventually, walking rather than calling a car. The terminal released him into sunlight that felt less generous now. Outside, the air had shifted, as if the day had moved on without him. Back at the hotel, he packed slowly. Not methodically, thoughtfully. Each item seemed to ask whether it would be needed again. He folded the letter once more and placed it in his jacket. That felt deliberate. He did not analyze why. On the flight home, he did not read. He watched the map on the seatback screen trace a thin blue line east. The line looked too simple for what it represented. At home, the house greeted him with its familiar quiet. Nothing had been disturbed. That felt like both comfort and accusation. He unpacked only what he needed. The rest stayed in the suitcase, zipped and waiting. He left it in the bedroom, not the closet. The next days passed without shape. He slept late, read little, walked often. The campus loomed nearby, present but no longer obligatory. On Wednesday, he ran into Margaret outside the bookstore. She had been his colleague for 20 years. They had shared committees, lunches, and a mutual disinterest in small talk. "Back already?" she asked. "Yes," he said. "You look unsettled." "That's not inaccurate." They walked together without deciding to. "How's retirement?" she asked. "Loud," he replied. She smiled. "That tracks." They stopped near the quad. Margaret turned to face him fully. You don't owe this place anything anymore, she said. I know. Then why do you look like you're waiting for permission? He considered that. Habit. She nodded. Careful, she said. Habits become alibis. That night, he dreamed he was lecturing to an empty hall. His voice carried anyway. The echo felt indulgent. He woke with the sense of having said something important to no one. The feeling stayed with him through breakfast. On Friday, Clara emailed. No subject line. Just 3 sentences. I arrived. The light is different here. I keep thinking I hear you in the next room. He stared at the screen longer than necessary. Then he replied, I'm glad you arrived. I'm still here. I don't know what that means yet. Her response came hours later. Neither do I. But it matters. The suitcase remained where he had left it. He began to notice it the way one notices an unanswered question. Saturday brought rain. The house absorbed it quietly. David sat at his desk and opened a document he did not title. He wrote a paragraph, then another. Nothing academic. Nothing polished. Just sentences that did not ask permission to exist. He stopped when the light faded. The page felt unfinished, but alive. That was new. On Sunday evening, he called Clara. I'm thinking about staying, he said. She did not answer immediately. Then here. No, he said. There. The pause stretched. He imagined her standing in an unfamiliar room, measuring it against memory. You don't have to decide all at once, she said. I know, he replied. But I think I already have. Come visit, she said. I did. Come without a return ticket, she said. The words landed gently. That frightened him more than urgency would have. I need time, he said. Yes, she replied. But not forever. After they hung up, he walked through the house slowly. He touched the spines of books he had not opened in years. He paused at the door of his study. The suitcase waited. He opened it and began to remove items. Then stopped. He sat on the bed, hands resting on the zipper. Outside, the rain ended. The quiet that followed felt expectant. David closed the suitcase again. Not yet. But this time, he moved it closer to the door.